So my name is Derek Jones. I currently live in north of Toronto in Canada. I'm an engineer. I focus mainly on sighting systems for aeromounted platforms. Definitely an engineering background. I've actually worked in the military optics, military sighting systems for actually 31 years. I guess previous to that, of course, you might tell by the accent, coming from Europe, from Britain. So kind of moved around with the job. Yeah, I like fine furniture making of all things. I like the precision of it all. Other than that, typical family scenario. You know? So back around 2002-ish, I was actually working down in Colorado Springs at the time for a company. Typical family environments, in bed 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. The classic, the glass breaks. We could hear the people downstairs. We could hear them shuffling around, kind of blatantly talking to each other. It wasn't like they were being subtle. Frightening scenario. Frightening not only because you're woken, you don't know what's going on, but more frightening because I didn't have a plan. Every guy has that sense of protection for himself and his family and those people around you. I didn't have a plan at all. We elected, I think quite rightly looking back, we elected not to tackle the issue, pay the home insurance, let them have that TV. It probably took me another 18 months to 2 years before I really took a breath and said, what am I going to do about this? I actually had a friend who, actually ex-Rangers, who introduced me. He was already a member here. And we actually drove from Colorado, did the 4-day handgun at the time, blown away by the course itself, absolutely. But I went away empowered in my own abilities and my own confidences, absolutely. But empowered beyond that, where I knew I wanted to progress, I knew I wanted more information, more preparedness. I had a certain expectation of what the environment was going to be like at Frontsight. Came along and the experience was 180 degrees to what I imagined. It's an environment that had 400 odd people carrying the sidearms. They've got maybe down on the range at least they'll have the shotguns, the rifles with them. I've never felt safer. I've never been surrounded by such education. The level of folks here, is right from your average Joes, engineers, right through to your whatever, PhDs, etc., etc. The way the courses were presented, the knowledge of the staff, of the instructors, is undeniable. Not only of the material itself that they're presenting, but also beyond that. They've got years of history of actual experience, not classroom, actual experience in the dirt, to back up those abstract questions. The experience was phenomenal. It changed me on a personal level. Again, I don't think I'm a paranoid person. I prefer to think of aware, prepared. I don't sit with my back to the door, in a restaurant or whatever, the fast food place. I'm aware of the people that are around. The instruction generally, the insightfulness of this place, you go away and you continue that journey outside of these walls, outside of this range. That's what you get from Frontsight. The people that I find interesting to chat to about gun education, gun awareness in general, about Frontsight, are the spouses quite commonly. Perhaps the spouse has some level of concern about having a weapon in the house. I've literally seen beads of sweat coming down the side of their face whilst they're holding a red gun. It's that level of nervousness. And to see them at the end of the day, just one day, maybe they're not, doing the 1-inch group at 50 yards, but they've got a confidence and a competence about having to deal with that, such that really truly it changes the dynamic of the home. There's a safety, there's an understanding, there's an interest that they actually share together. Many of the people now actually take their wives down to the range, down to the shooting range, as much as they would go to the golf. It's a family, almost a family environment. It's a growth thing for the whole household. It really is. I would say to Dr. Piazza, you have a staff and an ability here to change people's lives for the better. I've just flown 2,000 miles for this. there are people that come in from far, far further, as well as local. The word spread. All I could ask is keep the momentum going. As you might tell by the accent, I'm from Europe, from England. If I had a chance to voice my comments to all of Americans, I would ask them to look back at the history of Britain. It's happened in other countries. Ask themselves if they want to be in the same position as Britain is now, where you can only have a shotgun, you can never have handguns. Psychiatric evaluation for such things as well, I might add. You have to be a member of a shooting club. You can only shoot it at the club. You have to keep the gun at the club. There is no weapons whatsoever allowed in the home. In the, I'm going to say it was the late 70s when I was still there, I remember my father's guns being taken away. Police came, took them away. There's forces working for your benefit, the NRA or whatever. And it'll all pan out in the end. But it doesn't work like that. I've lived it. And every year, much as it is happening in the States here, it gets chipped away, scratched away at the little liberties that you have, that you sit back all complacent, thinking that there's forces working on your behalf. Of course they're going to support the Second Amendment. Of course, it's written. How can they not? If I had the chance, it's almost like wake up, lobby, be active, engage your family, friends, anybody you know. There has to be a gravity around it, otherwise you end up where we are.